you going to put on the spot?
Not me.
You, both of you. Because you both. Hi guys, Rosie here with Rivet Real Estate. We're here on our Thursday webinar, August 1st, 2 p.m. Central Time. And today I have a question for all of y'all. Roger and Bree just plays along with Roger because she just thinks that's more lucrative. Apparently, I still don't know. They both,
Roger's face.
Oh gosh, you
that
guys are going to
is not
embarrass
going to shut
me.
up. I have
Please,
a question for all of y'all.
please, please,
He is
please.
going around
Forget
with
it. Forget it. Forget the question. Let's just move on. Yeah. Let's jump into the news. Let's jump into.
Now
when I
everyone.
get forget it out of him, that means I knew I exactly hit it.
Yeah, you touched me. You pinched my nerve. So guys, we have a really good show for you today. We're going to go over a lot of good information about what's going on in the market, and so you're going to want to stick around to the very end. And Bree's going to have a phenomenal opportunity for you because you want to put your money in places that are high growth. And when you have the type of population that we're going to cover and the growth in those areas, I think you're going to really like what you see. So, hey, who's this show for? This show's for anyone and everyone. If you're looking to invest in real estate, buy a second home, or maybe you want to buy your personal residence, uh, this show is for you. And on top of that, this show is for professionals too, because at the end of the day, we co-create this experience together. With that, Rosie's Rosie, what are you doing? With that, let's get the show. Oh boy, okay. Skip this.
Face
Awesome.
scratch, face scratch.
So, guys, this is an exciting time to be in real estate. We all heard the news. Interest rates have been left unchanged because we do have a strong economy. And I do have a graph I wanted to share with you. But before I get into that, how's everybody doing today? How are you doing, Bree?
I'm doing great.
Rosie?
I'm just hungry.
She's going on about how hungry
Everyone
she is.
in the comments put what Rosie should eat after this.
It can't be Italian. I don't want no pasta. It can't be pizza.
What's your favorite restaurant in Austin?
Mexican and Thai. It has to be that.
Comment below.
Comment below. Give me some options, guys. If you want some juicy real estate news, give me some options.
Oh.
I like
Okay.
this.
Hey, listen, guys. Here's the thing. Well, here's the background feel of everything. We are doing things that are going to break the norms of real estate market. We are collaborating with people in a way that an average real estate professional has not. And we are committing to bring a change that most people would say it's way too out of box thinking. And everything that we take on at once, at first, scares the shit out of us.
What the heck are you talking about?
Till I am more concerned about the questions she's going to come up with for me than me thinking about doing something outrageous. She's going to be like, all the who questions. And I don't think that far.
No, this is Rosie. Bree, do this. Okay, but like how? And mean? And is that ready for us to do? And what do you mean? Oh my god.
What happened?
Rosie,
just
wait,
did.
okay. Don't look at the comments. Rosie, tell me what restaurant, the Thai restaurant you said to go to.
Sip Sem Thai.
Okay, Jade just said.
Oh,
I think that's
nice.
That's where I'm going.
Oh, Varun said have some green curry rivets color. Hi, Varun.
Oh,
Oh, hi, Moni. Hi, Jade.
Hi, lovely people. Okay, so now we have some lovely people here. We got to make our call a little juicy. Okay.
Okay.
So the goal is that look, everybody can buy and sell a real estate. That's the easy transaction. Okay. Are you buying creatively? Are you seeing things that other people can't see? Are you moving at a pace that other people can't? Right. So I had a conversation with a seller yesterday, and he was like, Rosie,
Rosie, you're muted.
I don't know how I clicked on that. So I met with the seller yesterday, and he was like, Rosie, I know we have been talking about this for a while, and I need to really move this property now. I was like, okay, we can move this property. Now, oftentimes people divert into a conversation. And by the way, guys, I have made way too many mistakes before I have come to this conclusion. Trust me on this. So it's not that Rosie woke up in the morning and just downloaded this genius in her head and now she's talking. That's not how it works. A lot of mistakes happen before the genius wakes up. So after all the mistakes,
I love your confidence that you can call yourself a genius. I want to get to that point.
Well, she is.
You are always at that point when I asked you for advice. I
That's
think you
genius.
sit on that crown,
That's genius.
Genius. He's like know-it-all in the house, like all the encyclopedia information. Roger got it on his fingertips.
No, you're too
I
kind.
don't even have to press the button download. It's downloading and streaming out. It's all about tapping into it and getting out of it, Anyways, so the seller conversation was like, okay, I need to sell the property, right? Oftentimes, what do we default to? Why do you want to sell? When do you want to go on the market for? What price were you thinking? What do you own the property? What are the upgrades? What are the condition of the house? Have you inspected the property? How long have you owned it? And then we go into our market spiel. You know what I did this time? I said, I'm not going to talk like that. I'm not going to ask the questions from people that I already have relationship with or have built a rapport with, where I kind of know that this is the standard norm conversation that's going to happen before we execute. The question I got to ask the seller was this: we have talked a good handful of times about your property, and for some reason we have not been able to move it. What do you think is the hardest thing for you so far, that if handled, everything will everything else will become easier? And that was the conversation. What is the one thing that is hardest for you, if handled, would make everything else easier? That conversation probably was my most favorite conversation, because we got to get to the most high priority issue right away. And how many times do we just, it's almost like going to doctor's office and saying, are you pregnant? No. Have you had a surgery? No. You have a heart disease, diabetes? No. Are you smoking? No. Are you drinking? No. These are the kind of questions that people can almost predict what you are going to be asked if you're thinking about selling. How are we showing up as a novelty and a different concept for people that they can't find anywhere else? So I enjoyed that. What do y'all think about it?
I like it. I actually put it in the comments because I wanted to remember it.
Do you like it or you love it?
I think I love it. But it's early.
I have a bias with people who put a like thumbs up versus heart.
I've realized I'm quick to love, and the world's not ready for that.
Not really.
I tell my barista I love you, and she just looks at me like, "Oh, thank you for your business."
You told her you love her. You know what you just said?
I love everybody. I love
you
so
said,
much.
I think I love it. You think you love it. You didn't say you love it.
I know I love it.
There is no think and do before love. You just love it or you don't.
Okay. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, go.
And everyone can comment too, but I think that this is in line with what we've been talking about, which is when we get to really understand a person and what's most important to them, then all the other pieces make it easier, because we can ask all of those questions. We might need those. I mean, eventually we need those questions answered, right?
Yeah.
But until we understand what is their biggest hang up or what's the most important thing to them. It doesn't matter what we know.
Mm,
It's just like that one saying, like, it doesn't matter how much you know until they know how much you care. It's
yeah.
literally it's the exact same thing in real estate. And probably even bigger because this is a big financial decision for anyone in real estate.
That's a really good point. And thank you for clarifying, Bree.
Wow. Okay. What a timing.
It reminds me of this book that I'm reading right now. It's called Super Communicators. And the whole premise of it is like the beginning of the book talks about a guy who's in the CIA or joins the CIA and realizes that being in the CIA is 100% about communication. It's
Mhm.
about it's about convincing and influencing the other party. And so I think that's key. And Rosie, we actually have used this before where you say, what's the other way you rephrase it is what's the one thing you can do which would make this
Oh, it's
unnecessary
from the book One Thing.
easier or unnecessary?
Yeah, it's what is the one thing you can do such that by doing so, everything else will become unimportant or
Easier or
unnecessary.
unnecessary.
Yeah. So, you
That's
know,
from the one thing.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
What
That's a
was
great.
it
What's
What
that?
What was it again?
is the one thing you can do such that by doing so, everything else will become unimportant and unnecessary? We live by that.
Yeah.
Like Brie has her one thing, and I don't get her in her one thing. She leaves my one thing alone, but sometimes she brings her one thing into my one thing, which I have a big problem with. Uh, how,
Rosie
how, how, how?
you today.
No, actually, hear me out on this one. You guys ready for this?
Mm.
So, one of my very dear mentors said this: if I said that, I would have said that. The way you have changed it would absolutely be easier to defeat. But let's use what's actually being said instead of curation of it. If something is unclear, it might be a better idea to ask for clarification than restructuring the whole idea. It's very deep. So what I'm trying to get to this is the reason I'm reminded of this is Roger's having stress moments. He's like, can you just explain what you just said? Okay, so here's what I'm really getting to here.
I'm
Okay.
wondering if that's what I actually thought.
Well, now
You
you have
have
the
a wife as a mind reader,
of course. So if I said that, I would have said that, right? What I'm trying to say is that in a communication between two people, if one is not listening or one is not hearing, they don't feel heard first.
If one's not listening or hearing.
Yeah. For example, if I'm not hearing the other person because I'm not feeling heard first.
Mm.
Oh, I'm not hearing because I don't feel heard.
Yeah. There's something pushing at us to say our piece first. So we can talk about all the predictable questions that come up in a conversation for any buyer, seller, or investor. They're not really hearing why we're needing that information until they get to say their piece first, what's most pressing on their mind. So maybe creating room for that conversation first allows us to get that big thing out of the way. Now we can come up with strategy.
Yes, 100%. Because everyone is always wanting to talk first and they're always thinking ahead. Not everyone, but most people are always thinking, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? So let them say what they're going to say. And then
I'm amazed at both of y'all's multitasking abilities.
I'm not
Hmm?
multitasking.
I am.
You come as a bonus with him.
Hey,
Okay, guys, everyone listening to this, I'm going to beat up Rosie after this.
nice. I need you to do
You
that.
see? All right, what do y'all think about it? Super communicator. Let's get to the point. I said
So
my-
okay, so listen, the reason why this is okay, being in the CIA is about influence and communication when we thought it was about so much more. And similarly, real estate, whether doesn't matter what you're doing. Not understanding somebody fully is not going to produce the result we want ultimately. It's negotiating with the other broker, negotiating with um, the other party, and even just getting everybody on board, getting your internal team together, getting your lender on board, getting your broker on board, like actually communicating your vision, and all of these things. I think is everything comes down to communication. In essence, yeah, that's what I took away.
Are you waiting for me? Oh, okay. I thought I said what I meant to say, but I'll reiterate it again. Um, I think I agree with everything Roger's saying, but I also think that at the end of the day, everyone just wants to be heard. So if we can give that to that person, like understanding them in their entirety, what's most important to them, where they come from, how they got there, all of those things, then we'll be able to have a much easier relationship with them because we can understand their point of view without just putting and projecting what we want for them, because it's not necessarily what we want. It's really what they want, and how can we facilitate that?
Very good.
Are you multitasking, ma'am?
No, ma'am. I'm not multitasking, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm going to hold you accountable to make sure I'm heard after the call. On the call that you're already planning to have with me.
Yes.
No, I didn't say you're heard. I said I'm heard.
Good. That's okay.
Okay. Well, this is how we communicate and run our business. We make sure the other person is heard. So, Roger, what's up today?
Yeah. Okay, so I just dropped something in the comments, and that is that the Austin Bergstrom International Airport, has experienced a record of more than 22 million travelers. That's up 28% from 2019. So reason why we're going back to 2019 is kind of obvious.
Yeah.
That's
People
5% a year on an average. 28% for 5 years, give and
well,
take.
people
Five.
weren't traveling in 2020 and 2021, right?
Yeah.
So
You said
therefore,
it's up from 2019.
Yeah.
up from 2019, the last year before everybody stopped traveling.
Okay.
Do you remember?
There's some emotion behind, like, I didn't get to travel. I'm going to travel more. Like that.
Actually, that has been we weren't traveling because of COVID, right? So travel restrictions is the reason why we won't go. They're comparing to 2019.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? And then on top of that, people are looking for more of an experience, as it's mentioned. I mean, in several studies, that people are now looking for experiences because they had to spend 2 years not having experiences. Kind of like why I went and got my passport redone, because I hadn't gone anywhere for a while. And other people are in that same line of thinking. But what's happened is, I can share this article. What happened is they kind of overestimated how many people are actually going to be coming back to the airports, and so therefore you're going to see some cutbacks in airlines. So let me see here if I can share with you.
Cutbacks?
Yeah. So here's the article. Here's why some airlines are cutting nonstop flights at Austin Bergstrom Airport. And it's an industry-wide issue, right? So it's not just limited to Austin. Austin actually experienced more travelers than they ever have before.
No,
And
why are they cutting?
they're cutting because they feel like the airlines kind of overestimated how much of an influx they were going to receive in business, and so they over kind of spread themselves out in that way, and now they're having to adjust. But that happens in every business if you look at it. I mean, companies, when they first open up, they have to overstaff, and then it comes to the process of stabilizing, right? So some of that they're just cutting back. That's what my guess is. But even this article talks about it, that the reason why is because they just have to pull back a little bit.
Well, you know what? The last couple of flights I had, there were it wasn't full flights, and that was something I'd never really experienced before. So
So could it be people are wanting to save more money now?
maybe.
Maybe they're not traveling? Interesting. Well, hey, that'll help inflation. You know? But that's what they want at the end of the day, right? And interest rates going up is to try to get people to spend less money, to get inflation under control, and people lose their jobs, unfortunately, and it's not a laughing matter, and I want everybody here to hear me on that, that's not at all what we're talking about, but
I hope they're not
I
compensating
mean,
by
look,
taking
okay,
more
so
trips.
what would you say, Rosie? What would you say? We've had a 28% increase in travelers, and they're cutting back flights. What does that mean to you?
28% increase since 2020. Okay, so for me, I think context is very important.
Mm.
Anytime we see an abnormality in the market, we have to pinpoint and circle what is the reason that abnormality occurred. So imagine for a second that you had 2020 timeframe, 2021 timeframe, which is coming out of COVID. People were barely getting out of that fear. They don't want to go travel anywhere. I still see doctors wearing masks, and I'm like, okay, are you trying to avoid COVID or it's different
Actually,
reasons?
COVID had sprung back up, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We have a close friend of ours that just got it,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
So what I'm trying to say is that their increase in projecting what influx to accommodate for could be reflective of what they were thinking is going to happen after COVID. So, for example, if after COVID they saw a lot of people jump into the travel plans and we saw a hike in the demand for traveling, then the airport is going to naturally take action to accommodate that. But it is always a temporary thing, like shortage of inventory, high prices. It happened because there were extreme high shortage of inventory and extreme low interest rates. So
Mm,
that's an abnormality. Now, would we have the same kind of situation again? It will only happen if we have shortage of inventory and low interest rates combined together. And on top of it, a pandemic happened that pushed the construction back and created more shortage of inventory, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that the cutback is only reflective of them planning to an abnormality in the market. If it is consistently increasing 5% a year for less 10 years, there won't be any pullback because
yeah,
they are
okay.
performing to the market trend.
You're saying it's a phenomena, it's a lot of information coming
Yes.
in, they don't know how to adjust for it, and
Yeah.
therefore, that's how they
How
okay.
many times as business people we over hire to accommodate for the need? Like Brie, when we were going through that 2020 time frame, like people were like, "Oh, you guys are so busy." It was not busy. We had to write more contracts for the same property to get it sold.
Yeah.
So we needed more admin help. But was that all admin help um, uh, sustainable when things normalized? No. So it's the same thing for businesses, and that's what I think airlines go through.
Yeah. Well, I was going to make the case for Austin, exactly where I'm headed with the conversation is that Austin is a travel destination and it remains one because you can see from this report on this website, Austin is number 3, Dallas number 4, 5 San Antonio, New Braunfels, as far as domestic travel destinations. And sometimes we forget that because we're living in the region and we don't really realize the significance of where we are. But if I was to share another screen with you, and these are kind of, I don't know where they get their numbers from because you go to one website says one thing and another says another thing. Top travel destinations has Austin as number 9, right? And I don't know how they're accounting for this. They have sorted out by Gen Z and Gen Pop, so who knows? But speaking about that, a reason why I brought that up is because I'm seeing there's a construction project. This is indicative of the growth in the area, right? Every week we come in here and we talk about the billions of dollars that are being spent in Austin. Right now, there's a St. Elmo project that I'm kind of excited about. It's a $100 million project. It'll be 230 residents, and I love when we get on as a team. Sometimes I'll call Bree, and sometimes she'll call me. She'll say, "Hey, what's this construction project going on?" And I think the last one we were talking about was St. John's project. And so when you see cranes in the air, you're wondering, and what's going on? What's this construction? How's it going to impact the overall experience of the city? And so this St. Elmo project, the reason why it's exciting is because it's on the side of, let me share my screen. It's on the side of Congress that I feel like is not, obviously the side that's in downtown is really the one that's booming, and you see a lot of people waiting to look at the bats and stuff like that. But this is some living and retail at the bottom, so it's a mixed use project. And let
Oh,
me show you.
wow.
Yeah, the location is here, closer to Ben White, and so it's kind of industrial, or there's a little bit to do, but it's kind of suburban feeling, right? And but like here's South Congress, so I feel like the allure of South Congress is going to be extended with these types of construction projects, and that's what's exciting about it. That people visiting the city will have more to do when they get here. Um, and there's also the Suerte Mexican restaurant downtown, super busy restaurant, right? The owner of that project is actually buying the Ace Motel, which is, Rosie, we were looking at that project a while back. And
Yeah.
yeah, so he's going to redevelop that restaurant. And, he started Suerte with $50,000 to invest, and that's on 6th Street. So he's come a long ways from that $50,000 investment. And I can't wait to see what he does with that site.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think anytime, the thing about Austin is so funny. Anytime we mention something that's not in the billions of dollars, we feel like it's not a big enough deal to talk
No,
about.
no, 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 no. This is not how I was thinking.
Mhm.
I know most people can think that way.
Yeah.
What I was thinking is that, okay, if a business owner is looking for expansion, they only expand when there is growth.
Yeah.
New restaurants, new hospitals, new retail, new gas stations. Like, I sometimes look at Bucky's and I look at their operation. Like, they are a tourist attraction. People are like, can you have a gas station this big and get everything there? And you go inside, it's all Bucky's merchandise,
Mhm.
right? So when I look at another Bucky's open up, I know there is growth in the area. I know they have already predicted the traffic count per hour on in that area. So I'm only thinking that, okay, restaurant is the hardest business to make successful.
Exactly.
It's the least profitable. The only profit you have in restaurant business is by scaling it up.
I mean, there's such thin margins in there that when you see a restaurant making an investment and making uh, you know, spending money to actually buy the asset, to buy the real estate, that's something that we don't see a whole lot often because of the thinning margins in food. And so it's very exciting to see, and that's what attracts people to Austin. And it feels really good to see more of that happening here. And I think that's good for our economy. So in a moment where we're seeing economic contraction, we're seeing entrepreneurs like him come out and continue to move the ball forward on that side. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Hey, I
And
have a question.
yeah, yeah.
So, Rosie, you mentioned that sometimes, like, you look at Bucky's, right? I was talking to a client yesterday, and they were mentioning that what they look at is they look at number one, does it have a Whole Foods nearby? And
Mm,
number two, does it have a Starbucks nearby? And if so, that's how they make their decision on investment.
beautiful. Can be.
Great observation.
Yeah.
Great observation, because Starbucks is a traffic count business. It's mostly drive-through. So Starbucks spends thousands of dollars researching an area for feasibility. Whole Foods, I think what they're probably for me, HEB
Household
does
income, maybe.
yeah.
Hmm?
Sorry to cut you off, Rosie.
So for me, HEB does the same job as Whole Foods. I primarily would look for an HEB before I look for a Whole Foods. But
Yeah,
it depends upon the demographics. Yeah, like we have seen more growth with HEB than Whole Foods in Austin area.
Well, I have
I,
something. I have something to add here.
I have one last thing to say. To me, when I see Whole Foods, I feel like you're now going to pay
pay
inflated
a
prices.
premium. That's what we were talking about. They were okay with that. I
Can
thought
I
that
say
was
something here?
yeah.
I Okay, I think it's okay. If I have my investor cap on, then I'm looking at the numbers. I'm saying, okay, what is the product that I'm buying, and what is the exit strategy? How much money can I make on the upside once I acquire this asset? I don't care if there's a Whole Foods, Starbucks, McDonald's, anything nearby. I want to know, what am I getting in at, and what is my exit strategy, right? Simply. And then if I'm looking for my personal residence, then I can say, well, what are the things that are going to help me retain value in my property? You know? And so what is the household income? So if I'm even then I'm purchasing price, right? So I'm purchasing price, and then I'm taking a look at the amenities nearby. So if I do have a Whole Foods near my home, they're not going to close down shop and leave or anything. It's going to attract more affluence in the area. We can all agree that Whole Foods costs way more. There's a running joke, like you go to Whole Foods and you come out with 2 bags, $300. That's the joke, right? So I feel like that's one strategy we could use, and there's still a lot of other points that you want to observe. That's not just the only points. What
You're
am
going
I?
to look at highway expansions. You want to look at tollway expansions. You want to look at hospitals, because what is a hospital predicting?
more people.
Hospital doesn't run on empty bodies.
Yeah.
Hospital is anticipating X percentage of population to visit them. So from their existing locations, they have a proper data they collect that, okay, this much radius has this much population. And on average, we have these many visitors to an emergency room and to our hospital visits. All right, where is the population growing? All right. So it's, I don't even know how to say it because I don't play golf much, but
Yeah.
the puck is headed. Like, don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a hockey terminology. Go where the puck is headed, not where it's at.
There you
Uh,
go.
Yeah,
yeah.
not
So
where it's at. That's
amenities.
what I was talking to that investor about, because when he mentioned that, I was like, okay, interesting, right? I get where you're coming from, but you can spend X amount here, right? Or you can spend this amount in a location that's just a little bit further, but your rent is the same. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you buy this one? You don't have a Whole Foods. You might have a Starbucks, maybe.
Okay, so in this specific case, it was a rental property.
It was a rental property.
Mhm.
It was a rental property. Okay, so in those, I mean, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I want to see, how much did I pay for it? How
You
much
know,
is
there's one very powerful phenomena that nobody really talks about in real estate.
Hmm.
You know, when I look at our prime areas like Balcones and Spicewood, where there are Round Rock ISTs, can invest like Blue Ribbon schools, the rents there are almost the same as if you go out maybe another 3 to 5 mile radius, right? Now, the question is why? Because a renter is not looking for ownership. They're going to go where they get the highest value, benefit, and features, right? Unless they're bound by their children's school, which is a temporary tenant.
Right.
So, what happens is, because more inventory comes on the outside, the rents get diluted. But here's the thing, the people who are in the prime location, they lose a rental, but they gain appreciation.
Mhm.
So it's the game. We got to recognize what we are playing. We got to know the game we are in. If you're in the appreciation game, don't look at rents. So if this investor is looking for appreciation, he might not care about rents. But if
okay?
he, but
That's
if
fair.
he's looking for a long-term hold and he's looking for maybe more sustainable cash flow right now and more sustainable growth later, then they are gonna say these. They're not gonna say
Well,
these things.
I think what you were saying earlier about, we want to go where the puck is headed, and so where's the Whole Foods coming in at? Where's the new hotels coming in at? Where are the new establishments that we're talking about? And that's exactly why this conversation's
Are relevant,
relative
yeah.
to what we're talking about now. We're talking about where the developments are coming and how you can get in a little bit before that. It's really cool how real estate, you can have insider information and you can use it. This is what that is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay.
Okay, so this is actually a really cool project, guys. I mean, millions of dollars are being spent, and if you're Austin resident, you know what this is. This is a hotel here off of
Ooh,
I-35, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Renaissance.
it's the Radisson Hotel, right there
Oh,
off
it's changing
290,
to Delta by Marriott?
290 and 35, Rosie.
I know exactly where it is.
Yeah. So we knew, it's next to Papacito's Cantina.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So they're
That's where I
actually
should go eat.
they're tearing it down and they're building a
Delta by Marriott.
Delta by Marriott. Yeah. And
Look,
here's
it's
what
gonna have Starbucks.
it's going to have: Starbucks. It's going to have a Starbucks in a beautiful place for you to sit next to the pool, or a nice canopy setting, or you get to enjoy your coffee and you maybe have a little something poured in it.
Can we talk about something here? One thing that I want to kind of help people understand. When I was a young entrepreneur, I always wondered. I said, why would Marriott spend so much money here? They
Yeah.
can just go outside and buy and build like one third the cost of project. Why would they build it here? Why
Mhm.
would they? And longer I stayed in business, here is what I learned.
Mm,
People pay premium for proven business models.
Yeah.
mm, mm,
This area has proven an X amount of revenue for a property that might not be fully performing. But if the other brands in that area are producing and have a fair market share, and this property is under the market share, then Delta by Marriott is going to say, you know what, I can come in, because what they're not looking at how much money are they spending, Roger, real quick?
I don't know, but they just bought the land and the property that they're going to tear down for, I believe, like close to $30 million.
Yeah. So they're not looking at like a $30 million investment. They're looking at the return they're about to receive on the $30 million because it's a proven market.
mhm.
You cannot recreate 290 and 135 land again.
No. You know what's
So,
so funny? We were going to buy a commercial property across the street. It was a Days Inn several years ago, and it had step downs. And I remember walking through there with our partners, and they mentioned it's kind of tacky. We don't like it. And it's so funny to think back that what they were demotivated by today is just the land across. I mean, I think that property was at that time selling for like $2 million as a bargain, and just today that land is selling for 30 million. It's just mind blowing.
so the moral of the story is if a property has a step down, ignore that. You're
Yeah,
buying real estate, not
don't
step
get caught up.
down. Don't
Yeah,
get caught down. Don't get caught up in step downs.
nice. Hey, Bree, what was the
Good.
status? What was the status of St. John's when you drove by there? Did they how much of a project completion? I mean, this is what they have it projected to look like.
Nothing. I no. I didn't see anything yet.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either. Um, I'm curious if they have the Home Depot, because this is where the Home Depot used to sit, right off 183,
Oh yeah.
and it stayed abandoned for several years. Have they start tearing it down yet?
I don't think so.
Wow, it's moving along really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the city's involved, and a lot of people are going to voice their opinions on the project, and that kind of just slows things down a little bit more.
Hmm.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. And so we do have, and so that's talking about the Austin culture and what continues. Oh, by the way, the Radisson redevelopment project is expected to cost $145 million, Rosie, to answer your question.
Oh wait.
Yeah. We
Drop
covered,
it for
so
Marriott.
Bastrop County is getting a 145, oh, sorry, $1.4 billion data center.
Billion?
$1.4 billion data center in Bastrop County. So
Wow.
Virginia-based $1.4 billion campus.
There goes another $1 billion.
Yeah.
They
I
said,
have lost my count. I've lost my count for $1 billion coming to Austin.
yeah.
And look
I
where
said,
it's
just
at.
sit, I said, just sit tight, buy real estate, drink your
Oh,
margarita.
it's close. It's actually. I mean, that's not far from like the airport and stuff.
No, it's
No.
not far
Can
from
I
the
can I
airport.
say something? Can I say something?
Huh.
Okay. I from all the news, I'm gonna sum it up for all the listeners who are gonna watch the videos and call us later as well. Here's what I would sum it up. And I said this 10 years ago to investors and it worked. And it's a similar place I'm saying it for again. 10 years ago, I told my investors, I said, buy anything you can under 275 and you're gonna be fine. And they
Yeah.
said, why? I said, that's the fastest disappearing price point in the city. Like, Brie, can you buy a property for 275 in Pflugerville right now?
No.
Well, her tells you everything, right?
Yeah.
So now, 10 years later, I'm saying this buy anything that makes rent cover the mortgage, and you're going to be fine.
Hmm.
Because you cannot fit these many $1 billion into one city and not see appreciation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
buy
Rosie,
anything where rent covers mortgage.
okay. And on that note, look, I'd love to paint a rosy picture all day long after I'm married to a rose. But there's some news. Wells Fargo says that there's a chance that we could see a recession. And so I don't want to sit here and just paint a beautiful picture for you. But I
No,
mean,
what kind of
know that
recession is Wells Fargo experiencing? Can I have you elaborate that?
And who trusts Wells Fargo? Sorry, I had to say it.
No, I love it. I love it.
Wells Fargo is creating how many jobs?
Yeah.
Hold on. What is the reason they're saying that? Let's dig in. Like, let's explore. Why is Wells Fargo saying we're going to see a recession? And where? Nationwide or in Austin?
Yeah, no, that's a big difference. There's a big difference between nationwide and just Austin. So they said consumers are now prioritizing needs over wants.
Well, of course
So
they're going to, because when needs over wants, that means they are wanting to take care of the necessity. And inflation, what do? You first feed yourself, put it with shelter and food is number one.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, spending
So
spending
spending,
has
oh, their credit card spending went down. That's why they are like seeing a recession. Well, of
uh,
course, on discretion, how do you say it?
discretion, not
Non-discretionary
discretionary.
goods and services
Hmm.
are outspacing discretionary spending. History tells us this does not end well.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, that means that, they didn't. So going back to interest rates and how we're keeping them where they're at because the job numbers are too strong. What does that mean? They want to knock down jobs, right? They want to make sure fewer people have jobs. And so this is going back to the idea without getting, being in conspiracy mindset. The Federal Reserve is there to Rosie. Now you know about where I'm going with this, right? For instance, we always talk about loan modification and how banks are there to take advantage of people. And
Yeah.
how many times have we seen where the banks will not help people who are struggling right now because they want their real estate. They want to make sure that they
No, they're
profit.
hurting. They're almost their head and stomachs are hurting because they lended the money way too cheap. And now they're like, oh, 7.5. All
Yeah.
the loans they have at 3.5% are prickling them. They're very prickly right now. Right. So they're like, what can I do to stick my hand and get a 7.5% mortgage? Like the loan modification. Well, let's just sum it up what Wells Fargo is really saying. Wells Fargo is basically saying if the Fed cuts down the interest rate, people won't have money to go spend with zest. So they don't have like extra money laying around to go spend on houses and get different type of a mortgage than what they thought initially. So let's just talk about this for a moment. That is not a recession problem. That's a bank problem. If bank wants to lend money, It's their responsibility to come up with creative ways of lending money. It's not consumers' responsibility. Consumer didn't wake up in the morning and say, I feel like paying 7.5% today. Bank didn't decide, consumer didn't decide it. Fed decided it. So it's Fed's problem. They want to lend money. They need to come up with 40-year mortgages. Bree, what is the Heroes program that you were getting? Like zero down? What was that?
Oh yeah, it's zero down, and no PMI, so you're not having to pay private mortgage insurance.
Listen, everybody. Zero down, Bree, and no PMI. I don't remember hearing it in last 15 years of my real estate experience. Anytime you're less than 20% down, there's always some kind of PMI on it. And if they're saying zero down, no PMI, they're basically encouraging people to go into the outskirts area where affordability is there, because that's where you mostly get zero down USDA programs prior to today's market. So what they're really attracting is that, hey, it doesn't have to be an area that needs development. As long as you qualify for it with this, and this, go buy a home rather than renting one.
Yeah.
And a 6.75 rate.
And at 6.75%. What is Fed going to cut it down to? 3%?
I mean, look, you can Google it. The Federal Reserve is there to make a profit. I mean, drive profits right to the banks, and so it gets a little nasty. And the main idea is for you to not be left out, right? Because they're sitting there wanting to profit, and the banks, we're not big fans of them because we
I just
get
want
to
to
see
say one
what they.
thing. It says, can you go back, please? Go
Oh,
back
I'm
to
sorry.
that.
I actually didn't mean to get rid of it. I'm sorry.
Go
Uh,
back to this. I just want to share something with y'all. Okay. It says spending on non-discretionary goods and services is now outpacing the discretionary spending. The
mhm.
Wells economist said. History tells us this does not end well. They forgot to add two more words.
Hmm.
For banks.
For Fed?
For
For
the bank.
banks.
Oh, for banks, yeah.
Yeah. This does not go well for banks.
Yep.
Okay, now you can remove it.
Okay, cool. Just looking at where mortgage rates were and where they've come. So if we look at the 30-year fixed, I think it was back in October, October, it was near
Last year.
7.8%. So it was
Yeah.
a whole percent higher than where it is now.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a big deal, guys. That's a big deal. If you guys are thinking it's going to go down to after September, it's going to go down to 4%, pipe dream. It might come down to 6.25, but you can buy that much rate down already.
Hey, if it comes down, that's even better.
Like
You know,
that
that's better
has
for
the
everybody.
1 point buy down for 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, three of our clients got under 5% rate this year. I bet their chests are all fluffed up.
So, Rosie, this is something I'm really excited about. Kyle is revitalizing their downtown, and they're buying up some of the real estate, or
I
they have.
think Kyle is beautiful. I think it gives me a vibe of South Georgetown.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna like San Marcos, Georgetown, guys. I don't know, but I'm going there. Apparently, my doctors are in very cool places, and I don't like to go to doctors, but this time I'm going to a doctor in San Marcos area. So expect me to hang out in the downtown afterwards.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And the city council approved during a special meeting on July 24th, approved $4.5 million purchase of 3 downtown properties.
You know what I wonder
So,
sometimes? Where
yeah.
this 140 million and 4.5 million and 1.4 billions coming from? Like, who's lending this money? Is bank not getting to lend any of it?
That's why
Yeah.
they're
That's why they're mad. It's all private sectors who are like bringing money. Ah ha ha, man.
Yeah.
When
And
people get lenders limited,
what do you
I
think about this? Luxury home prices hit a new high. More starter homes cost $1 million now, and so homes are becoming more expensive, right? But here, can you guys see this? Austin's, we have 1.65 would be considered luxury. So this is the top 5% of
yeah.
homes sold in the market.
You're gonna like this, Brie.
And so that's 1.6. 1.65. And then if we look at Dallas, it's 1.4. And if you look at Houston, it's 1.1, guys.
So in Houston, you can buy luxury for 1.1. I think drainage issue. Oh, no, never mind. Flood insurance costs a little bit higher. So I gotta cut the price. Insurance gotta make money.
So this is the point usually where you guys get tired of the news. You're not wanting any more news.
Yeah, I'm done with the news.
You're done with the news. Okay, cool.
So basically, if you want to build luxury, build it in Austin or Dallas.
Now-
Don't go to Houston for luxury right away.
We have Dallas and Houston news, and we'll
I'm
be
saying
sending
build,
that out.
not buy.
We'll be sending that out in an email to you guys. And I know it said Golden Triangle, so people are expecting to hear about Dallas and Houston too. And unfortunately, this is not a 2-hour webinar.
It took me only 19 years to realize that this man is the information machine.
Lots of good news all across the state.
No, he does know. I had a question about some area, and he got back to me like this, and had a whole beautiful thing ready for me to go.
He had me fooled.
I love
He
it.
had me fooled all these years. He was always like, "You're the brains. You're the brains." And people are like, people will sit down and they will make guesses about in our business, who runs what. They're like, "We all know who the brains of the business is." And of course, they're saying it's me, right? Or Rosie. And I'm just sitting there shaking my head, and nobody ever believed me. How much I am juggling my brain with him about everything. I just say it nicer and prettier than him.
Well, it's kind of like the toilet seat analogy. The women, they did a survey. The women found the seat up more times because they were the ones who had to put it down. And the guys found the seat down more often because they're the ones that had to pull it up. So
no, hold
I
on.
thought everybody was telling
How
me
does
I
it
was
relate
smart
to
one.
information?
He's
See,
giving-
that's where you do it wrong. You can't talk information and toilet seat at the same time.
I thought they were saying I was the brains. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, happy ears. This is what they sound like. I think, first of all, today what I walked away with is number one, communicate accurately with people. Bottom line. If they don't feel understood, they won't understand you. If they don't feel heard, they won't hear you. That's number one. Number two, I also heard from Breeze that oftentimes when we're talking with the people, we can have all those points ready for us to ask information. But if we get that big thing out of the way, then we can go think strategy with them because their brain is released, right?
Yeah.
And even the book Super Communicator, I highly recommend the book. Once again, I had a streaming of Super Communicator happening by Roger all week long. And it practically said even the intelligence agencies like CIA, they value communication.
Yeah.
So if you're married, you're running no CIA. So imagine how important it is for you. And the third I realized is that hotels, like $140 million investment by Delta Marriott, what are they seeing that we are not seeing, right? So it's like buying into where the Whole Foods is, proven market, versus buying where HEB or hospitals are headed. So it's just a strategy. You got to know your product. You got to know the game you're playing. And another thing I found out from you, Roger, is today is that the money that is coming to the city and the big decisions that people are making, like $4.5 million, $1.4 billion, and then Wells Fargo is saying it's a recession, it just feels like a joke. It just feels like a joke.
Well, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate, Rosie, because the population in Texas is growing.
Yeah.
And so we're not experiencing a lot of the stuff that the nation is.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that still comes with its own,
So it's almost like, hey, don't stop dating just because your friends haven't found a good spouse yet.
Oh.
They're like, you're looking at other people. You're like, oh, you have been trying to date for a while. You didn't get anywhere. I might as well just sit home and not even try. you might get luckier. So don't look at the rest of the states.
I get what you're saying. I was like, wait, what are you saying?
No, like, what is that?
Don't look at the rest of the country and think that, oh, their recession is happening, so I might have a recession in Austin too, or
Or
Dallas.
don't look at what your friend did 5 years ago and think you're going to get the same price. It's not happening.
Ouch. Not happening. Did you hear
Oh,
that?
that's a good one.
Okay, cool. What else?
I'm actually excited to hear about what the opportunity that Brittany's going to talk about today. I don't know if Brittany, if you still have time to talk about that.
Do we have time?
I'm so excited about
Flash
you
us.
shared with me.
Okay, we'll do flash. Let me present. Okay. Oh, why does this always do it to me?
Guys, if you don't see it here, you're definitely going to see it on Coffee Social.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do quick. Look at this property, a duplex, brand new construction, each side, 3-bed, 2-bath. Now this is in Magnolia, Texas, which is in the
Montgomery County, close to Houston.
Houston area.
Yeah.
Okay. Each side is renting out for $1,800 at 510. Now, I don't even care about that. What I really care about is this. Y'all can see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can see it.
Okay. Look at this. Okay, guys. Okay, wait. Let me just go to here.
What?
Let me go to here real quick. Look at this rate. With 25% down, they're giving us a 4.75 interest rate for investment on a duplex.
I think it gets, and then it doesn't get any better than this.
No,
doesn't
you just Mike. This probably is. I'm sorry to say, honey, Bree just made everything else obsolete.
Yeah.
Badass.
So look at
4.75% interest rate, Bree.
4.75 interest rate with only 25% down.
Wow.
And $1,800 a month rent. Okay, on average, I was seeing $1,850, but I was looking conservatively.
You can do DSCR loan on this easily all day.
Easily. Look at this monthly cash flow, $932 a month, roughly.
You can retire one bill for $932 a month.
And
Rosie said it. I always said that, hey, you can retire on a couple of $100 a month, but you can certainly retire a few.
But Rosie, it gets better.
What?
It gets better. Look at the average household income for the area and the population it has.
Oh, wow. Good. Maybe that's why rents are good.
There's even more. So look at this annual population growth rate of 17.97%, almost 18% a yearly growth.
I'm going to be devil's advocate here.
Huh?
I would like to know since when.
This is since 20. Actually, I have the data.
It's actually even higher if you go back and compare.
So it was actually from the last consensus, which was census was 2020, and it was 156% or 156% growth since then. And the annual population growth rate was since 2020 per year.
Point made.
But now I know what people are going to say.
What?
They're going to say, well, you went from 2,500 people to 5,000 people. What's the big deal? Right? Let me tell you something. The projections for 2039, I believe, is close to 60,000 people for the area. So in 14 years, we're going to reach 60,000 people. That's a big jump.
Yeah, I actually have the data there because Raji helped me get it. But it was like I have it here. I'll share with you. I think it was like 600% or something like that.
Yeah.
600%
increase.
Guys, anytime there's an anomaly, one rule of business is we got to back it up with a reason why it is the anomaly.
Also, an important thing to remember is that Montgomery County has 630,000 people in it. So it's not a desolate place. You see 2,500 people and you think it's not, Montgomery County as a whole.
A lot of luxury homes are in Montgomery County.
Yes.
Yeah, it's high.
A lot of luxuries in Montgomery County. People live outskirts, not in the middle of Houston traffic.
Yeah. their houses on larger tracts of land.
Yeah.
Just
And
go to Montgomery.
I
What'd you
mean,
say?
it's beautiful.
I
Just
can't
move.
see y'all's face.
So I think you still have some more information on what makes it a desirable location.
I do. I wanted to share that it's renting out in about 32 days or less. And this is not a brand new development where there's no other properties that we're able to compare it to. When I was pulling in the last 180 days, it's a duplex community. So they have other properties that are already on the ground that are consistently getting that 1800, like I said, up to 1850, even 1900, and renting out in 32 days, which is a big deal because sometimes people don't necessarily get if it's brand new, they think, oh, what are we basing that off of?
Wow.
Opportunity. So we're less than 30 miles away from Conroe. Conroe has a $2 billion bond on education and infrastructure. I think Roger actually went over this in the news back
Yeah.
in February. Was that what it
Yep.
was, Roger?
Yep.
Yeah.
Late February.
And then Sam Houston and Conroe, they are splurging on a $70 million building for health sciences. So again, this is pretty close. It's probably like 35 to 40-minute drive. But a couple of other highlights of Magnolia. Roger, did you want to touch base on this because you kind of helped me with this part?
Yeah, no, it's insane. The largest highway loop in the United States circling around the city is State Highway 99. And so it's spanning 184 miles. And not just that, but Houston in general, I think they're spending several $billions on road construction and expansion all across the metro. That's the news that we didn't get to share with you guys today. So the Highway 99, I think they're spending close to $9 billion on just expanding roadways and different areas of Houston. But that's a big dollar amount, right? And they want to support the infrastructure and allow the city to grow more. And so that outer loop there is going to be really responsible for a lot of growth, and it's going to connect a lot of different communities that haven't been connected before. And so we should see a lot more mixed use and amenities coming into those areas, hospitals, grocery stores, you name it. And because at the end of the day, what industry likes to do is move on to the outskirts where the land is cheaper. And so if they could still have all the amenities of a city, but just go on the outskirts a little, it attracts employment and those areas get filled in over time. So this right here, I believe, is a remarkable investment.
Yeah.
And
This is
and
called thinking ahead when the loop is not built yet. So
this
why
is
do we
this is planning for the Whole Foods for the future.
future? Yes. So this is the reason why we show you guys all the developments where they're headed, because this loop is an indicative. Now the normality is justified. Why is a high normal growth? Now we understand that it's not only us, even city is looking at
And
largest loop.
they're not gonna, TxDOT's not gonna build a highway somewhere where it's not needed.
Yeah.
It's
Textro
not
don't
gonna,
have money to throw away. They want to collect some toll. I'm
yeah.
kidding.
No,
All right, guys. So today we delivered an hour and 3 minutes and 19 seconds of value.
Yeah.
And I think between these two guys and me interrupting them all the time, we got the whole Texas covered. So thank you so much for having us today. And I just generally want to say thank you to Bree and thank you for Roger. My most joyous moments are when I see them on a Zoom call before this webinar. And I know some magic is happening. Either somebody's coming up with an idea and somebody's coming up with their house for it. And I'm getting a mental break at that time because, gosh, this is so exciting to watch it all come together. So, on that note, sip Thai, or what are we eating?
I think it was kind of fate of some Thai.
I'm going. I don't know Roger wants to go or not. Roger, I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta, report back.
Honey, I feel like you watch your webinars back and back again, and you're in the responsible for the marketing side of it, and then you strategize.
Yeah. No, you
How are
gotta.
you going to show up on the next webinar?
Oh, is that what you're thinking on how
Yeah,
why?
you have version 1.1 on the webinar. It's like I can't get under his skin at all during the webinar. Like I've lost all power of getting under his skin. But
No, you never got under my skin. I gotta tell you, I have a very loving and endearing relationship with Rosie. And if you ever saw us in public, you'd be like, "Those two, what are they doing? They're at each other's throat," you know. But I gotta be honest with you, I have the time of my life with her, and she's just an amazing woman. And I'm just so glad to be in the company of a
oh,
brilliant, smart woman. You know.
Oh,
I accept it all.
soundbite. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Right? Just kidding. Look at Brie. She figured it out. She said, I'm not even going to try that with Chris.
I'm not gonna what?
Even try that with Chris.
Oh.
We stay married by working together. She stays married by not working together.
Nice. I love that big smile on her face right now.
She's glowing today.
She's glowing.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for all the love. And you make us who we are. And hope we continue to show up as value to you. And now I'm going to have to answer their questions behind the scenes. I think somebody's waiting to get on the phone call with me.
Awesome.
So let me see if I'm going to be heard before I hear them.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Cool,
Love
y'all.
you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.